To enjoy this and other great episodes on Patreon, check out the link in the description and subscribe via the Black Kluge tier for full access to over 100 exclusive episodes. For those of you who would like some QF swag on Teepublic, t-shirts, magnets, mugs, what have you, also click on the link in the description.
Now look, I don't want to get into a long explanation. That's not what I came here for. My audience isn't here. They're here to laugh. Hour and a half. I have not taken a break. Spread the word about Sirius. We do not take commercial breaks that often. Let's go ahead to Randy. I don't want to be in a wig and a purse. I do that in my personal life.
Ralph, I don't want anybody touching me.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm with you.
Sometimes. Like, hey, man, what's up?
Yeah, you touch me because you're paid to touch me.
I'm not saying I was the biggest stud, but I got mine. And I fucked some pretty good-looking women. Way before I was Howard Stern on the radio. Fuck off. Assholes. The nose I have now is gigantic, and the fact of the matter is, the reason it looks different on Letterman, which I've explained a million times, is that I keep the camera so far back on the E! Show, and I only shoot from the right-hand side. You wouldn't turn the children against me, would you?
I would try.
She would, too.
She's coming and she's fighting on all sides.
No, but I'd win that one.
I wouldn't even have to do anything. If you ever did anything to hurt me, they would hate you.
I wouldn't hurt you. I just want to go out and have sex with some women.
Listen, by the way, considering what I'm going through, I feel horrible that your smoking hot girlfriend went to a movie without you last night.
And then came home.
Can I say something about that, though?
And then came home.
Let's be honest, though.
When he was knee-deep in Johnny Walker Blue.
Well,
It's a bachelor party.
I think it was a good idea for the beginning of it.
Yeah, I think you would have been just as weird. If we started at the beginning, you go, oh my God, everyone's staring at me.
Not me. I love it. I love when people
He
stare.
loves to be stared at.
I love it.
Move into Sam's house and get the fuck out of our lives. We'll get Beetlejuice to pick out our
Get fatter, Artie. There are more of those fucking things.
Beetlejuice will pick out Howard Church. You can live with Sam and blow him. You're being a little,
and not only that,
baby there.
No,
not only that,
I'm just trying to weigh it
You
up.
can't live without a stylist in your life?
Not only that,
What has happened?
No, I'm thinking who would be easier to replace?
I think Ralph, of course.
But there's a lot of
The
guys
guy
who
who picks
drive.
out your clothes.
Chris, could you date Ralph? Would you?
No.
You couldn't? Why?
No, look at that smile. He's lying.
You're lying.
Robin,
Tell the
please.
truth. Could you
Robin,
date Ralph?
Could you date Ralph?
No.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
I
please.
could.
No.
We would have the best time, Robin. I wouldn't
I
talk
couldn't
to
date
you.
Ralph.
You wouldn't talk to me.
I couldn't date Ralph, but I could fuck him. I'd fuck his brains out.
Well, maybe. Maybe.
If you
A lot
guys
of
were,
people feel that way.
I know Ralph is straight, but all right, now I understand.
All right.
I don't understand. I can't understand gorgeous.
It's a straight place.
No guy. Let me just say something about men. No man
Says gorgeous.
says gorgeous.
Really?
This restaurant is gorgeous.
Okay.
You got to understand something. Guys don't
Next-
talk that way.
next
Guy
time.
goes, hey, it was a good lunch.
And it was sort of set
Well,
him
the
on
sketch,
a-
what the controversy was, it was Patrick Swayze, who's, gorgeous.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to QF, a podcast about Howard Stern. I'm your host, Fillmore, a.k.a. Jim Fix, and with me for tonight's Beth's Secret Stash Volume 5 is Sam. How are you, my dear? Hopefully feeling
Polluted.
better. Yeah. Yeah, the haze is pretty brutal today. But, as always, I did not tell her what clips I selected, and we're going to go with two not often heard clips. One of them is going to be, there was a time when, do you guys remember when Dice and Artie were sort of had a bromance going on? It wasn't exactly that. Dice came back to the show, and in 2006, after a long period being like written off, then he did the gig with Artie and only paid him $5,000, but then didn't pay him for the longest time.
Yeah, I do remember this.
And so, but either way, they made up, and then he started leaving voicemails for Artie. So this is a short clip of his voicemails to Artie.
I have to say, when Dice and Artie both are on the show, and they're both men's men, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I mean, they would be called toxic masculinity now, but
Yeah,
I
no
enjoy
kidding.
I enjoy that. So, Howard always changes his affect when they're in full guy mode, and that always drove me crazy. Like, he's such a tough guy.
Uh-huh. Well, remember the $5,000 thing. First of all, Artie was pissed because it was a fraction of what he would normally get for his own gigs. That's why he thought what a waste, because he didn't do a full show, but he should be getting like $30,000 for that gig. But and he was way more popular than Dice at that point, at that point in comedy history. And then like, not in terms of notoriety, just in terms of draw and how much people would pay to see him. But then he didn't pay him, and I always thought that was Dice testing Artie to see if he'll ask him for the money, and that he wasn't ever going to pay him unless he brought it up.
I hate that about somebody because I personally don't like to ask for money.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's not the most comfortable conversation, and I think it's something that then if you have a relationship with that person, that's always in the back of your mind, and you're like, when am I gonna bring this up? And it causes you stress. It's just so unnecessary. Just pay somebody for their services.
It can be like that, absolutely. So we're going to go with the voicemails first.
Yeah.
It's like a parade of overweight men.
That's Kimmel and
By the way, Artie, I was just listening to Artie got like 50 phone calls from Andrew Dice Clay in a row on his answering machine.
I know. He's breaking my balls now.
Yeah, and I'm not even.
I mean, he continued to call even after you told us about the call.
Yeah.
Well, I said, how did he get Artie's number? Another comedian, Don Jameson.
Who we've had up for.
Oh my gosh. Fillmore, you know what this reminds me of in Goodfellas, Maury. You know how Maury was hassling them for the fur guy who was hassling them for the money? When am I going to get the money, Jimmy? When am I going to, where's my money? You know, like, but Dice in this case would be Maury. Like, instead of asking for the money, he's making a big deal about giving him money in general.
Well, in this case, this is just, I think he was just busting balls. That was the premise of this. Like he already just lets everything go to voicemail.
Right. He's a friend of mine. He opens for Dice on the road.
He gave Dice Artie's number.
But Don called me first. Says, right, if Dice calls you. I'm like, yeah, I don't give a shit. I'd love to.
Oh, my God. I mean, it's on and on and on.
Well, you know how Dice loves to break balls.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, he's breaking balls level red here.
Gary, what page was that on? Here it is. I'll just play you like 3 seconds. I mean, they go on for hours. First, Dice is talking about the breakup between Artie and Dana.
Now, does Artie ever pick up, or these
No.
See, this is the best. Like the show, you didn't need fake back office callers. You have endless voicemails from Dice. There was so much buzz going around these people.
You didn't need guests. You actually had more stuff than there were hours to record.
You had so much going on. And then when they got to Sirius, they had so many different promotional gigs, different side shows that they could take from. That happened on the Riley Martin show. That happened on Back Office Radio. That happened at the neighborhood block parties. I mean, it was endless. They made the biggest mistake by fucking this all up.
It was like a hybrid car that charges itself.
Oh,
you know how they say, like it constantly fed itself. It was like a self-feeding furnace, basically. And yeah, you had to pay money to those contributors. But obviously, and I just listened to a clip, Bowie telling Riley that he got $400 a week.
Oh my God.
$400 a week. And
$400 bucks a week.
Right.
That's like
I don't know how. I think it might have
level.
I think it was only one show, but I mean, even still, like, for fuck's sake, give the guy some money. Like he's a contributor, and the fact that they used his clips on the air should have made him earn more money.
Here's my guess. Either they were going to pay him a little more that would have knocked him over the level for where he wouldn't get full benefits.
Yep.
For like Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps, public assistance, Section 8, whatever you want to say. Right. If he bumped into a higher income bracket, then he would not get those benefits, and that would completely fuck him, which that's how the system fucks you, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So don't do it. Don't do it. So I will say, though, that's so sad that they just wanted him at that level where he might have been just above to lose his benefits. Why don't you just pay him more money? $2,000 a week.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much it would be. I would certainly not 400. I'm just saying, even if it was $1,000 a week, he would have been.
A week.
I think he would have been more than happy with that. Anyway, let's continue.
It's all
voicemail stuff. Yeah.
And they go on, and he's doing a 2-man routine with Don. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I can't believe you don't pick up. It's Dice. Yeah, I heard with you writing a letter to Dana, you fucking idiot, writing a 5-page letter. You should be filling the Hudson with your load by now. You understand?
That was him trying to cheer.
Oh. Oh my God.
I love his delivery. I've always been a huge Dice fan because sometimes you just don't know what the fuck's going to come out of his mouth.
It is. Oh my gosh, what a character. Rick has friends like this. They're fucking characters. I'll just sit back and observe. They talk like this. They're crazy.
Well,
they're crazy.
Yeah, but Dice, this really was a character. Like, it is him, but it's also he basically used to call himself the Brooklyn Dumbo, and just because you add whatever you think is going to make somebody laugh and exaggerate it a little bit more. I mean, a Dice really is kind of like this, I think, in real life.
Well,
but
we
obviously,
heard that from the Jim Florentine interview. Remember, he said, "I'm going to take you guys to the mall. We're going to go shopping." And then he picked him up and then he took Jimmy Norton and Florentine shopping just because they stood up and did the whole album for him. In
front of paying customers.
I mean, that was the greatest anecdote I've ever heard.
Oh, I loved it. I absolutely loved every piece of it.
Cheer him up. And then he was upset that he called Artie, and he calls back, and now he's like, "Sincere, Dice, and I shouldn't have called you and yelled at you." And
hey, look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to blow up at you. I mean, but fuck me, right? I mean, I should just worry about you. You don't know what my day was. I had a fight with my chick this morning because she's telling me about an ex-boyfriend that was now in her mother's house in Philly, hanging out with the mother, bullshit with the mother. But fuck me. Let me stay calm all day so I can help you with your problems.
Let me stay calm all day. So I can help you with your problem.
No one's asked him to help Artie. He's just like he's listening to this show basically. Like, obviously he's listening to the show, and that brings to an interesting point. He was listening to the show then because he clearly had heard some portion of it anyway. When do you think he stopped listening?
Oh,
because he had to have.
After Artie left.
I'd say so, yeah.
And
oh, sorry.
It's not just Dice. We had Celebrity Fan Roundtable. Those Celebrity Fan Roundtable people, how often do you think they listen to the show now? I bet you not at all.
Well, fuck, Chris Rock, the last time he was interviewed, said, "Are we live? Like, are we like? Is
this?"
Even he thought everything's just a podcast now. We're just recording. What's the difference between if we record this? Is it happening now? Is this going out over the air? But in his mind, he was like, "No, nothing's live anymore."
I know, because you could recycle these shows at any date, any time, and it doesn't matter. There's no real time significance to any of them anymore. The best part about having celebrity guests on back then was whoever they chose to have on, they asked things that no other show was going to ask. So
generally, yeah.
If there was some sort of controversy, they were mean sometimes, like they were nice, but it wasn't like this Meet the Actors studio of 79, like the 79 version of Actors
Inside
Studio.
the Actors Studio, yeah.
Inside the Actors Studio. You know what I mean? So there was something about it that you could still. The celebrity interviews were not my favorite part of the show, but they were still decent.
They could be good. It depended, and like he never quite understood. Like recently, I just clipped the full version of Sal on the wrap-up show talking shit about the Katie Lee Joel interview that Bob and I covered, and I only used a segment of it because we didn't have that much time to record the entire thing. But it's worth going through because Sal does the total stockbroker thing of going, I don't know that it was it was a good interview, but I don't know how much of it I really cared to listen to. And then he starts backtracking. No, it was good because of Howard. How Howard made it. And then finally callers are calling in. Well, she's who cares about her fucking life? She should be blowing fucking Billy Joel constantly. And then Sal's like, no, she should have been. She sucked. She should have been on the show.
I know.
We may cover it for like a future ep because it's you heard the spin. Like you could hear, Gary and Bowie doing their best to go, "Oh, gotta kowtow to King Baby here," and Sal not being smart enough to understand dissension is not what he wants. He doesn't want people telling you it was a bad show, even if it's Howard did okay, but the guest was shitty. He doesn't want to even hear that.
No, he doesn't want to hear it, and that became more and more obvious. But I will say, it didn't used to be, even when they had a celebrity on. Remember, it wasn't like it was so focused on them. They kind of sat him there and let him enjoy the ride of the show. So you're going to be a part of this show. We're going to tell you about what's going on with this person, that person, Artie's life, Sal's life, this bit, that bit. And then these celebrities, how did they interact with the juggernaut? How did they interact when they got thrown into their world?
That's right. It's an astute point. They're on the Stern Scrambler. And then it's not we're going to change everything to interview this person. They're coming into our environment. You're right. Let's see how they do in this water.
Yes.
With these sharks.
Not that Artie was looking for help.
Oh, these were fucking hilarious.
Oh, that's a riot.
And then I don't know. And then each one became more rambling, and then the next one. And this one, I didn't even know what the hell he was talking about.
Sounds like Dice needs a call.
Yeah.
All right, Artie, it's me again. All right, forget that other fucking thing. You want to use the messages, play it on the show? All right. Everybody will have a big laugh. Listen to me. I talked to a guy last night. You know, listen.
Our guy.
So of course Howard's too stupid to get this one. Artie's going to explain it to him.
You don't even know what
he creates a scenario that like me and him are going to commit a crime together. It's just like breaking balls just constantly. It's not.
It gets real annoying, right?
It's like almost a nightmare that Dice has your number.
Look, if I was on the phone
years ago when I was friendly with him, he would call and wouldn't let me off the phone. It was horrible. I had to hang up.
I found the messages to be hilarious. I laughed the whole time. If you're on the phone with them, it's different. But listening to a message, it's great.
I would upload that thing to an SD card or whatever, those things you plug into your computer and they're real small, and then downloads a bunch of information. Zip drive? I don't know.
USBs, memory sticks, all that shit.
Memory stick. And I would play those anytime I was feeling shitty. I mean, this would make me laugh constantly. You could play these forever.
Hence why I clipped them back in the day. I wanted curate my own like a playlist, and I didn't want to go through 4 hours scrolling through the fucking iPod Classic wheel going through a fucking show when I could, get the bits right straight to it.
I know. I'm just picturing Artie picking these up. What joy this must brought him. What joy. One after another.
I love it.
Jimmy has that with Adam.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't get off the phone with the guy.
Is that true?
No, that's not true. I can't get him on the phone.
When it's over, it's over. I mean, everybody goes through this, right, Frankie? Yeah. It's over. Just get out there and blow loads. This is how I feel. And the guy's like talking about it on the air, and he feels bad. Feels bad about what? That he now doesn't have to give up half of what he earns?
Frankie.
He had guys on the line with him to make the call.
This is so amazing. They're having
it never even occurred to me to get someone on the line on the phone with me in another phone to call someone up to leave a voicemail.
I couldn't even imagine doing something like this. This is so great.
It makes sense why he got along with Florentine and Don, because those guys being such ball busters with the the terrorizing telemarketers and special ed and all that, and all the meet the creeps and stuff, because Dice was there was a point in his life where he was filming his life, filming everything he was doing, and still is now on Instagram. And it's funny shit. It really is really funny stuff. I don't know if he's on TikTok. He might be, but just watching him go to a restaurant and act like a child who doesn't know how to do anything.
I love it. People who do that, like my grandma used to do this, she'd be like, I got somebody here, and she'd be like, they want to say something or whatever. But Dice just assumes that this is normal. Like, he's just like, Frankie here.
Let me play the rest of it, and then there's one more thing I got to show you.
Who makes phone calls with another guy?
He's got another guy on.
It was three-way. It was that guy, his buddy,
and your answering machine.
Exactly. Well, and Don, four-way. Don Jameson, Dice, the other guy in my machine.
I know how you are with technology. I'm amazed you were able to retrieve the messages.
Well, it's simple voicemail.
It's almost like they're doing...
Simple.
How many years was I calling you on your voicemail? You're like, I don't know how to retrieve my voicemail.
Oh, Howard. Oh, come on. This is your
on.
revisionist history.
Dude,
you had some phone that it wouldn't let you go through.
You were blocked.
Just my fucking luck. My loser friend from high school can call me to fucking borrow money from me, but Howard can't get through.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know. Give it up already. What do you mean? He just needs a friend, that's all. You know, he lives in Manhattan. You know how many chicks... You got enough pussy in Manhattan to fill a reservoir with. You understand?
You know, it's good. It's girlfriend advice from Dice.
This should be in a book.
I think so. Isn't that just something perfect for that? I don't know. Anyway, give me 1 sec.
Dating advice according to Dice. You know what, Howard, when you said, oh, this revisionist history, I believe Artie, because I believe he probably got Howard's voicemail, and you know how you have to call Howard back. There's this process. Who could figure that out?
Well, yeah. I mean, let's see if I got this. Hold on.
I'm sure there's some avoidance.
Okay, guys, just to further the point about Dice and like how he likes to fuck with people, I just got a clip from Joey Diaz's show from episode 377 where he talks about fucking with Matt Dillon on set. And I thought just to give you guys more of an example of what, if you didn't already know what Dice does just to fuck with people, I think it's hysterical. So maybe you need to be on pot to really appreciate it. But here we go.
Constant. Okay.
Was he the bodyguard?
Remember the bodyguard? He did it like when he was like, no.
When he was a kid.
He was a kid, like 19 years old, whatever. He did a movie, The Bodyguard.
My Bodyguard.
So My Bodyguard, where he's
So
like
good.
this tough guy, and he picked on this like nerdy kid, and the nerdy kid got this monster of a bodyguard. So then Matt Dillon gets his version of that guy. And what happened is Matt Dillon's bodyguard, you know, threw this motorcycle in a lake that the nerd's bodyguard like really took time, like this old fucking bike, you know, motorcycle, and he threw it in the lake in the movie. So I come over to Matt Dillon, but you know, I stay on it. And I go, Matt, let me ask you something.
Oh no.
I go, you know the movie, My Bodyguard? I said, you know the movie, My Bodyguard? Oh no, I'm fucking close.
I'm showing him Matt Dillon in the movie.
We don't have to
the
go to
movie.
the internet. Okay.
So he can see Matt Dillon's face.
See,
How young he
This
is.
is why I don't go out with you no more.
I'm thrilled that we don't go out anymore.
No, this is why. Because when I'm doing something, you start doing something.
Well, I'm trying to get to the point of the story. I mean, you're telling a story.
You don't know the point.
I do know the point.
No, you know the
Diaz
movie.
Got you high is what he did.
You know
So
the movie.
now
I know exactly
we
what
have to
the
sit
fuck
here.
I'm saying.
All right.
You
So
want
the
to tell me how
boom
to...
boxes are lighting up.
No,
No,
Kevin,
go up to. He's
Matt
going up to
Dillon's-
Matt Dillon
Wait
at
a
the
minute.
lake. At the,
So
Hey, Mike.
I say, yeah.
I know the show. I know the movie.
I know you know the movie. So I go over to him and I go, you know that scene in My Bodyguard where Mike throws the motorcycle in the lake? And he goes, yeah. And I go, like, you know, like, what's up with that? And he goes, what do you mean, what's up with that? I go, you know, they clearly weren't bothering you guys, you know, and you sent them over, and he just throws them over. I mean, this guy, just to find one part for this bike took him like 5 years.
Yes, that's right.
And he goes, so what do you want to know? I go, like, what's up with that? Why'd you do that? And he goes, like the wires, like his wires in his mind were like, he goes, Dice, we're doing a movie together now. Like, what do you mean? What's up with it? I go, no, there'd be no reason. You know, you got your bodyguard, the kid had his, and for no reason, this guy's going over and starting in. Like, why would he do that?
20 years later. My face hurts. You know the movie, The Bodyguard.
I think it's Adam Baldwin in it. So
Oh,
I can't
fuck.
remember he's coming up with a backstory for the motorcycle.
I like how he puts the girl in her place.
Oh God. Anyway,
Oh,
so just to give you an example,
oh.
guys, of what it would be like to be with Dice on on a regular like. There's a great clip of him also explaining about shooting a movie in Mexico with Frank Stallone. It's one of
This
the funniest clips ever.
Do you know who he reminds me of is Pat Cooper. Remember when Pat Cooper went on and talked about how he annoyed the fuck out of Robert De Niro when he was making Analyze That or
Sure.
Analyze This?
Oh fuck yeah! And
He was so annoying.
and took no prisoners. Anyway, guys, I promised this one a long time ago, and I thought it'd be good to put in one of these clips
Oh.
because it's not a saga. We're gonna go into the Judy Garland tapes.
Between the way you make me laugh during these episodes and the skin cream you sent me, do I look younger? Is my face getting an exercise?
You're glowing. So they played the Judy Garland. I think it was Vinny Favale brought the Judy Garland tapes in. What they are basically at a time in Judy's life, for those who don't know and who weren't listening back then or haven't heard the clip since then, she recorded herself at the end of her life just doing a diary, basically a journal of her thoughts, and it's called Judy Speaks. Her agent at the time, Irving Swifty Lazar. The top agent.
Sounds
Yeah,
sounds
Swifty,
like
right?
not shady whatsoever.
No, and so he decided, well, this is a way to make money because she was really like skint. She was absolutely fucking broke, and I think it was CBS owed her money for a show that she had filmed, but they decided they weren't going to release it or something like that. There's a whole bunch of things going on, and then she's fighting custody of her kids, and she's in a horrible physical condition.
Yeah, and she has this ex-husband, Sid Luft, who
Yep.
happened to take her for half and got custody of kids, so now she has to pay him child support.
But Judy, like if you really do look into the movie that Renee Zellweger did, that like you couldn't condense it in a movie. It'd have to be a show. Her life.
I mean, it's that age of Hollywood, those contracts were so abhorrent. These people you know how the NFL and baseball contracts used to be in sports about how fucked those people were, the ones who didn't get those big contracts. Movie stars now get the big contracts. Back then, they did not. That's why Marilyn Monroe even tried to open up her own production studio before they had her killed.
Well, either way, so this is she's drunk when she's making the recordings, and this became a legendary clip on the show, and I thought we could go through it.
This is so great. They're releasing a double CD of Judy Garland. They gave, I guess, at one point toward the end of her life, she was a miserable drunk, addicted to everything. And some guy gave her Swifty Lazar.
Top agent at the time, literary agent.
Said, here, take this tape recorder.
She was supposed to be writing a book.
Well, here's
Yeah.
the story. At that point in time in her life, her CBS show had just been canceled, okay? And she was fighting with them over money. She was paying her husband alimony, I think $25,000.
Yeah.
She lost custody of her kids, her Lorna and Joey, okay, her younger kids. So she was living in London by herself with her new boyfriend, no money, and this little tape recorder. And Swifty was trying to help her make some quick money, saying, just.
And so the movie features her like her London shows, basically, like when she decided that was the last stage of her life with that boyfriend that was way younger, and who knows, but apparently good to her. But
this kind of reminds me of, remember the VH1 Behind the Music TLC, where they talked about how they were the biggest pop stars, R&B, hip hop, whatever stars in the world after their Crazy Sexy Cool album made all these videos, but they were broke. And they went down, and I remember this. They did a graphic about how they went broke. Basically, everybody around them, they paid more than they paid so much money to these record company execs, these PR people. I mean, it was insane, the contract that they signed. They were broke.
Now,
they were the biggest stars in the world and broke.
It was funny because they were that album I remember because it was an excellent album.
It was
their best album.
I still have that CD.
It sold something like 14 million. And I mean, we're talking Michael Jackson numbers. That's how big it was. And every single was a huge hit. Like every fucking single. Creep, Waterfalls.
I saw them when Left Eye was alive. I saw them in concert. It was the No Scrubs tour, like where they just put out that album. I was in 8th or 9th grade.
Fan Mail, I think.
Yes, Fan Mail. That was a good album. And
I was kind of
like the other one.
I moved on. I moved the first album I like. What About Your Friends was a great song. But they anyway they
guess who opened for him? Destiny's Child.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah, I mean everybody's got to start somewhere. The record contracts are like they can be in LaFace Records really fucked them over. It was just 3 people. It wasn't even that big of a band. And yes, they needed help. They needed help writing songs. Obviously, they weren't going to write their own. They covered a lot of songs. But in terms of the face of the thing, they should have got at least, I don't know, $1, or at least like 50 cents per record each. Just to, because the actual, like Michael Jackson would barely get like $1 something a record when he sold one. That's how the division of the record sales go. Shipping, producing, like the songwriting, everything. If you saw the breakdown, like a pie graph of what the artist gets, you'd be embarrassed. You'd be thinking, fuck the record companies, and Napster's your best friend. You know what I mean? Or at least online. Like when they sell their stuff online, they're going to get most of their money.
Yeah, even the touring, they fucked them. It was bad.
Yeah. So it was a similar thing for Judy. Yeah. And then paying $25,000 in early 60s, that's got to be what? I don't know. That's got to be what, $250,000 today?
That's a month? Big nut.
Yeah. So either way, so she's really desperate and in dire straits.
Read into it, we'll transcribe it, and that's your book.
Yeah, talking to the tape recorder. So, and you can tell she's just loaded every time she's got to talk into this tape recorder.
And
it gets worse.
She's never not low.
Yeah, she's always high.
And when she's not high, she's goofy.
Yeah, it's great.
So the underlying themes are she wants her money from CBS. She wants her money from her ex-husband.
Yeah, she hates her ex-husband, Sid Luft.
CBS owed her money?
Yeah. She thought they did.
She thought they did because they canceled her show.
And Howard, there's a lot of similarities between you and Judy Garland. I think we should get into after you play the tape.
Oh, it's fine.
I made that part of a new intro, actually. It's great.
I love that he said that. There are similarities. But
big time.
In the way Judy talks, though, it's the most, I guess you could say, ironic juxtaposition of her old-timey voice that's so, I don't know, of that Katharine Hepburn era almost. And just the predicament she's in, it is fascinating.
It really is.
I like to hear that. But anyway, so she's an angry drunk.
Vinny's theories.
I'll tell you one thing: you won't find any tapes of me talking into a machine when I'm drunk. So the guy must have given her the tape recorder, and she's so bad at just sort of functioning in life, she can't even work the goddamn tape recorder. So she starts yelling about the tape recorder.
Okay.
But for openers, I don't know how to work this machine.
That's exactly like Howard.
Sounds like me too.
I'm just astounded at this machine.
She's astounded. No, she's talking into the machine.
Just push a button.
Yeah, right.
Turn it
It's
up.
the silliest way I've ever known of spending the nights alone talking to yourself into an obvious Nazi machine.
Spending the nights alone, that's talking to this obvious Nazi machine.
Now keep in mind, guys, she smoked like a chimney at this point, and like years of booze. But when she was younger, she was famous for, I think it was there was a three-person act, her and her sisters, and she was the talent, kind of like what's his name? Sammy Davis Jr. was with his father and brother, I think, or father and uncle. I can't remember. And the Will Maston trio. And he was far and away the most talented person.
And then she broke off and did a lot of movies with Mickey Rooney.
Yes, all the Andy Hardy stuff. I love some of those. Andy Hardy Meets Debutante. I love that film, actually. And they were the best of friends, but they both were like right into that system. They plugged right into that Hollywood system, and he was a bit of a shithead himself, a philandering ass, and really up in his hole. But he was at one point the biggest star in Hollywood.
It's
just like Charlie Chaplin.
It actually, like, just because I hear like the I guess you could say echoes and rhymes of history repeating itself with people like Britney Spears, and it's like their system changes slightly, but they still own you.
Yep, it's hard to get full autonomy in the business.
This is a red China man churn candidate machine because I can't get anything on tape. And when I do record anything, I automatically erase it. And I'm sitting in a room all by myself. Ho, boy. And across the room on my library shelf are about 35 tapes of shows that I've done for CBS. Now, in those boxes hold the tapes. My life depends on those, and yet I don't know how to work. That's not my business. I was trying to be a singer. I don't know how to read notes. I can't read music.
Rambling.
Now, the thing that I found most fascinating was her generally now being drunk and recording sounds like Robin generally. Robin sounds exactly like Judy.
I was going to say it sounds like Howard when he is going over the Hurricane Sandy emails and when he is also upset. I could picture him. If he ended up penniless in some apartment by himself, I could see him staring at old TV shows, old tapes, and saying, these people owe me money. And I did this, and that, and just ranting and raving, and then looking and reading at old emails and just the repetitive circular saw that you've talked about in other episodes going on in his head. I could see a lot of Howard and Judy.
Well, yeah, he's definitely going to be a Howard Hughes shut-in at some point when they finally pull the plug on the show, and when he has nothing left, he's going to be in a room watching stuff. Like just watching TV, just like Howard Hughes was near the end, letting his hair grow, was his chin hair, and then just saying, fuck it, because all he can do is like moan and bewail the fact that I'm not famous anymore.
Right. But here's the difference between Judy and Howard. Judy is an actual talent who was screwed. Howard got lucky and made a fortune.
Big time.
And I can't count too well. And I don't know how to work this machine. But
this is going to be some book. It's 20 minutes of...
So far, the first chapter is all about the tape recorder.
The guy says, talking to the machine... She can't even get past the fact that she can't work. She, as she goes on, she's more and more gassed up on juice.
So many tapes she erased.
Before we got this.
The story.
That's a story
of my life. You go.
He should really shut up now because the slurring of his own words now.
Story? That sounds exactly
drunk.
like, she's drunk. What's his excuse?
What's
New
his
chompers?
Exactly. Yeah, big time.
New jaw?
Even if you don't know what's going on.
All right.
This next cut is a real funny story.
This one's great. This next cut is
her thoughts on flying in an airplane. She goes off on a tangent on why are we even flying to begin with.
Yeah.
But she talks about dying in a horrible plane crash.
But I guess planes are, sort of a new concept at this point in her life. And she's just freaking out about planes.
I don't want to die. I've never met a cast of people I want to die with. You go on in there.
I love that.
I never met a cast of people I want to die with.
I look around the people reading the Reader's Digest or whatever. You don't want to die with them.
So she thinks in real life it's a cast of people.
Well, that's Howard. That is Howard. He has a cast of people doing everything for him.
Yeah, he doesn't want to go down with Joe Blow. He wants to go down with Jimmy Kimmel and Jennifer Aniston.
He does need Bowie on a plane or to get back from Arsenio to keep him happy and sated, though. Oh, God, that was my favorite. I just re-listened to that Arsenio show and the laughing we did. Holy fuck.
The orange juice?
In other words, the orange juice, yeah.
Her whole life is a show.
I don't want to die with those people. They're not good enough to die with me.
Right. I looked at this cast, and it's not good enough.
This cast, like I never thought of life like I'm on a plane, and the rest of these people are in the cast. She thinks everything's a movie set.
I get top billing. Judy Garland dies in plane crash for other deceased. Turn to section B, page 18.
So she'll be on the...
That would be the same as them. He couldn't take... He couldn't take being like upstaged by someone else's death.
I love her because she's such a fucking Even in her worst state, her
Yeah.
most dilapidated state, she is still focused on something like top billing for her death and a plane crash.
It's just,
so
it's
crazy.
it's surreal.
We're
big enough to die with her.
Yeah, they're going to be on Section B.
You have to turn pages to find out who else died.
Oh, she
That would make
insane.
her happy.
Why would that bother her? She wants to die with Clark Gable.
In a star-studded plane.
Right. This is a horrible cast.
And then they take
She's
her
the
up,
only
and they're
star.
a peculiar bunch. What are we doing flying around in airplanes? We're not. Even the birds don't go up that high.
She wants to die in a friar's roast.
Yeah, pretty much.
We just don't belong. We have to buckle ourselves in and hope. And there's no hope and no oxygen.
She's so
We
profound.
don't belong up there. Now, you know we don't belong up there. At least that I don't understand. I have to make friends with the pilot. And
That drunk sauntering up to the pilot.
Listen, Bill.
Hey, I got my friends are doing good. Figure out. Just stop.
Oh, God.
Don't talk
What's that?
about other people. What are we having for dinner?
Yeah.
I have to make friends with the pilot.
So he doesn't crash.
Yeah, if he knows Judy Garland is there, everything will be fine.
The pilot tells her,
Look at she has the responsibility for keeping the plane going.
right.
What a horrible responsibility.
give his children my autograph, whereupon he tells me that his children are just as important to him as my life. Forget it. His life isn't nearly as important as my life is to me.
Wow, but she sounds just like
Sheer
you.
selfishness. I don't really care about anybody but me.
At least she's honest.
My children. Nearly not as important.
Well, I mean, you know, we're gonna this weekend, guys. We're covering the wedding. I believe we're gonna cover the wedding saga. But and listening to him and I'm gonna get this wrong 1,000 times. Sprinter van.
I don't know.
He calls it a Sprinter van. It's a BMW. It's a massive, massive motherfucking Winnebago. You decide what you want to put in it. But he's saying how, you know, he was using it as like a fortress away from the wedding party, like where he had all of his shit, like the Batmobile.
Right.
And
I don't know.
And anyway, like he needs to be separate. He needs that special treatment, and how he had to be dressed by Beth and all this stuff. You'll hear it when we do it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
but Judy's, yeah, you know, she's a star. Everybody else is
Judy,
luggage.
my children are more important than. That's really going to convince the pilot that you're top billing if you just disregard his children.
More champagne, Miss Garland.
And my number is up. I want a new one, and I have no intention of
This is some book.
Oh, she is too much. I love her.
checking out. Now, this machine isn't going to get me either. One way or another.
She died flying on drugs, though.
We're going to overcome it.
She didn't need a plane.
She's fun.
She didn't need a plane.
All right, so
There's no way his children
What-
are as important as me.
the next one's great because she's ragging on the guy she just, ended up in a divorce with, Sid Luft.
Okay.
He got
That's
the
Lorna's
kids. He got the kids.
father.
He's getting alimony.
Yeah.
And she's in a different country.
She's got to pay him. He's got custody of the kids. She's freaking out.
I think at the time it would have been a combination of he's the guy, and often the men would get custody of the children anyway. And then
No.
she's like her. Why not? Back in the day, no.
No, women always got custody.
I don't know about that, but either way, she being the breadwinner wasn't enough, and that maybe being in court, being fucking soused, might have hindered her, her case a little bit.
I don't know how that worked back at that point. I think you're right about that men got custody to a point, but then it became women, our mothers, nurturing.
Yeah.
So I don't know when that switch happened, but I do know that if she walked into court like this,
Yeah.
they're giving him the kids.
Yeah, she'd be like Amber Waves and Boogie Nights, like trying to get custody and crying outside the courtroom. And the kids, And funny enough, I don't know about Lorna, but I know that Liza has nothing but like great things to say about her mother. It's not a Christina Crawford type situation with Liza.
I actually felt sorry for Liza the last time we saw her on stage with Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
And I thought wheeling her out for that, I mean, she's done so much to keep her mother's memory alive. I remember there was some sort of anniversary of The Wizard of Oz, and I forgot who sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow, but it was very beautiful. It was tastefully done.
Tastefully.
It was sorry.
Let's try that again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It was tastefully done. They did a good job with it, and then they brought her back out for the Grammys. And they wheeled her on stage. She clearly looks like she had a stroke or something.
Yeah, or maybe Bell's palsy or something.
Her physical ability to walk doesn't exist anymore. And mentally, she has trouble with words and memory. And so Lady Gaga was helping her out. And Lady Gaga got all this great press for being so kind to her, which is great. But I thought in general, haven't you punished this family enough?
Yeah, no kidding.
I just thought to myself, you know what? How about you pay her for what you did to her mother instead of rolling her out and everybody gets to feel good?
Well, they have a bad habit of doing this. And I mean, Lucille Ball, the last time she was I think she was at the Oscars or something, or the Emmys. I think it was the Oscars. I can't remember. She went with Bob Hope to, it was like 1989, and she hated how she looked because her most recent show, which was a failure, had just been canceled, and she just felt like she aged shitloads. And she said, I don't want to be in public. If I can't look like Lucille Ball, I don't want to be out there. And it's a self-consciousness thing, but it's not wanting to disappoint your fans as well. And with Judy, God only knows how she would have. With Liza, God only knows how she would have felt. I mean, it's possible she in her whatever state said, "I want to do this." Like they threw it to her and said, "Hey, do you want to do this?" She said yes, but sometimes maybe take that out of her hands and say, "No, it's not going to look good."
I just don't like that we have, as the American public or the public at large in the world, have this reverence for certain people, their talent, but how they were treated we think is abhorrent. And then those same people who all these decades later keep wheeling out those nostalgic memories to trigger us because it brings us some sort of happiness in our life. And so we want to see and we want to engage in that nostalgia. But at the same time, I can't help but think, you know what, you fuckers, you mistreated her. This isn't making up for it.
No, it's actually doing them a disservice. And maybe think about them in terms of how they look now, and maybe just leave them alone. It's like, who was it? Tim Conway. Before he passed, they said he had Alzheimer's, and he had suffering dementia. And for a guy like Tim Conway, such a performer, you would never want to have him out in a state of, like how Kirk Douglas ended up. You just don't want to see it because it's depressing as fuck. Never mind that we know it happens to people. We know it's natural sometimes, but it's just not. Leave us with our memories. That's why Sean Connery stopped making movies and stopped making public appearances. He didn't want people to see him in an impaired state. I'm certain that was it.
Yeah, leave people alone, or just, do the right thing by them financially.
Sid Luft is an animal. He's just some kind of breed.
You hear the clock ticking in the background.
And I'll tell the world.
Tell the world.
Whenever I can.
You're dead. You can't tell him.
See?
He actually is.
A blackmailer. A sadist.
Sabotage.
A sadist.
And a man who doesn't even care one bit, one way or the other, about any other living soul, let alone his nice children. He's never contributed a penny to their upbringing. He's never contributed 1 hour to their peace of mind. He's told them how untalented they are, how stupid they are, who needs them, and how he doesn't like them. That's a nice man. That's a big, upstanding tramp.
Man.
Oh
Now,
my
remember,
God.
Liza's dad was Vincent Minnelli, and Lorna, that's Sid Love. That's her kid with Sid. I don't know if they had any more kids. She had any more kids with Sid, but either way, I mean, I don't know the whole history, the biography. I don't know what he was really like. Maybe that's her perception, but either way, she definitely was the breadwinner. There's no question about that.
No, there's not. And, this is the ultimate, before there was social media, the ultimate drunk rant on your ex.
Big time, yeah.
He's in.
This poor guy, he's none of those things.
But wait a minute. If he's all that, they gave the kids to him.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's so bad they gave custody of the kids to him. So what's she?
I know.
Yeah.
Judges.
The judges, they don't see it. This is after she said she only cares about herself.
It's not dissimilar to the rant he did after his lawsuit got thrown out.
Well, if they didn't
she was on her period. The judge, she didn't understand. She thought I had plenty of money. All this bullshit.
Yeah, but gassing up the OJ judge who put him in for 9 years for the stealing the memorabilia thing. So it's funny how sometimes women are great.
Yep.
And other times they're not.
Right, exactly.
You don't get the results you like.
That's exactly right.
How she is the good parent. Yeah.
In Santa Monica court so that I can't even get.
Divorce is great, and it reduces everybody. He's an animal.
This is triggering him because he had to solve this problem in mediation, or it would be a Judy Garland tape.
Big time. And it ended up being sort of like that when he did talk about divorce and talk about how much money he had to give.
That's why you had to shut the fuck up.
He did. Absolutely.
He's a breed of man that doesn't. He's not even a man. Sounds like Daniel Carver. Not even human.
Get to see my children now that they're in England. Because I can't live with the stench of the Santa Monica courts and the stench of Sid Luft. And the stench of who robbed me, and just keep it going, keep the case going. Judy's crazy. Judy doesn't know what she does. I know well enough how to raise 3 kids. Damn well.
Whoa.
Yeah.
A part of me obviously hears that she's gassed up and drunk, okay? But a part of me, when she said Santa Monica courts, California, I have seen them railroad, like I said, Britney Spears for this conservatorship and pay millions and millions of dollars to these fucking people who don't give a shit about her health, a shit about her. They just want her to produce. They threaten her constantly.
She's a cash register.
She's not free. So it's like people think she's free. No, they just took Jamie off the thing and they put another conservator on. She's not free, guys. And so I look at this and I think, this California has a lot of bought judges, too. I mean, they did a whole thing about one of the Real Housewives, how that guy, her husband, who was a lawyer in the Aaron Brockovich shit, Tom, it's not coming to me, but he was a lawyer for the Aaron Brockovich thing, but he ran a whole Ponzi scheme for decades. He paid off judges. They gave him, I mean, everything. The California courts are so fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you think so? It's a carryover from decades and decades of systematic abuse.
I think the courts in California are a decade of bought and paid for legal people and California judges, and I don't think they're above bar, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
I got to get the book they wrote off this. All right, so now.
Okay, now she's getting mad. This next cut, she really.
Oh, this is one we heard, but we got to hear it again in context.
Okay.
Now she's mad.
Can listen to this all day.
She's running around. You can tell she's off mic. She's so mad. You can't even hear her.
She forgets about the tape recorder.
Yeah. Yeah. Here you go.
I'm very self-conscious about telling about myself. But I think I've got something to write about at last. If you like it, you'll like it. If you don't like it, you won't like it. But you won't be able to take it lightly. Any more than I've been able to take it lightly. I've laughed at myself when I should have cried. And I've cried.
I want to buy this CD because I'm trying to figure out who buys this. Like, do you put this in?
You're playing it on you're playing it on your show, shithead. This is stuff that these are back in the days, collectors would look for this stuff, like the old Friars Club roast, like I did. And I love this because you don't get at this point, at that point, you never would hear this stuff. Never.
Well, how much would you pay for a tape record of Johnny Carson at the end of his life after he didn't talk to his sons, after he cut off Henry Bushkin, and he's walking around
his fourth wife? He doesn't have anything to do with her. He's on the boat, the Serengeti, and he's just hanging. He's doing that poker table stuff with Chevy Chase and Carl Reiner and all these people. Yeah.
And the whole late night wars are going on, and get him sauced up on martinis and have him.
Mm-hmm.
I would cash out my retirement for that. That's how fucking awesome that would be.
The audio I want is Howard and Beth for a week in the house. Oh, yeah. I want what do you call them? Parabolic mics all through the house. I want to hear him bitching about stuff, even if it's a minutia, like I can't get this window to open or something like that. I want to hear how useless he is, what a drunk she is, who she's calling, like not even like her phone calls. I just want to know her speaking to someone on her end, just to hear her talking shit about him, everything.
Oh, by the way, when I said cash out my retirement, that means I have a day job, and so do you.
Jesus. Yeah.
Could you imagine quitting our jobs for a podcast?
For a Howard Stern podcast. Yeah, that's wonderful. I just finished grading actually this weekend, and the students were bitching and complaining about their grades constantly, and I'm like, one of them, my favorite, how can I prove that I was not late? You can't. That's why it's called You Were Late. Summer's coming up, so I have a little bit more free time. And even though Howard is not going to be doing regular stuff, that doesn't change our trajectory one bit. We have not breakdowns, but we have a couple breakdowns left, perhaps. But then it's all deep dives going into September. So when he comes back, we still nothing changes for you guys. So we hope you appreciate the professionalism. Or attempt at professionalism, anyway.
I think they do.
It's just a little, just a hunch.
Listening to music. Hey, I'm having a party. Listen to Judy Garland.
I was editing these things till 3 in the morning one night. It's
because I had every reason. I got damn mad. I'm an angry lady. I'm a lady who is angry. I'm thin. Insulted.
I'm angry. I'm an angry lady.
You know who she sounds like? That guy. I'm mad and I'm not gonna take it from network. She sounds
humiliated, but still America's sweetheart.
Oof.
Now I'm a rather intelligent, I think. And I'm emotional. Yeah, I'm a woman. I'm emotional. I'm not something you wind up and put on a stage that sings Carnegie Hall album and you put her in a closet and forget to invite her to the party.
Oh man.
God.
So she's spilling a lot of tea here.
Yeah, she is. Wow, she is emotional, and
who can blame her?
I can see the parallel with Howard. Imagine if he doesn't get invited to something. If he had a tape recorder and was running around, I'm not somebody you don't invite.
Well, Dartland, he listen to what he's doing about the Peloton thing. He's going on about how I can't get replacement seats faster than everybody else. I'm famous. Why aren't I getting these? Well, dude, this is the level of your fame. You don't get them because you're not that famous. Because Peloton doesn't see a fucking dime from your show.
Yeah, this is just incredible.
I mean, they do those things these days a lot more than they ever did when I was younger. Like a store would tell you, oh, how did you hear about this? Like if you're interested in buying this car or buying this whatever, what made you decide? It's like a questionnaire. It's no different than like a exit survey for a movie screening and stuff like that. If you go to whatever product, can you write a review, all that stuff. But then also people asking, what made you want to try Peloton, or something like that. Like It's no different also when there's serious people that you cancel your subscription. Why are you canceling? Howard. And you think they don't fucking take notes and send it all to some master list that goes to the heads up?
Oh, they know. That's why they're putting up with this bullshit less and less. I got a survey from Yale. Somebody sent me some comment I made on Reddit, and they asked me like on a scale of 1 to 10. This comment, they like said my comment. They're like, "How do you?" Something about what I posted. They said on a scale of 1 to 10, this, that, and the other. They asked me 4 questions and asked me to send it back for research. And I was like, okay, sure.
Are you sure it was research and not some scam? Anyway.
No, it was very strange. I was like, oh, okay. But I think people are always taking the barometer and the temperature of, their products and where they go. And Howard is just clearly a shill and doesn't, and they're not making money from you.
No, they could tell. Like, no one's going to say, I listened to Howard Stern. He talked about Peloton, so I'm going to buy one.
I heard the agents leave her behind. I'm mad. I am mad.
She had a rough life. I mean,
Who left her? They had a party without her?
Well, this is funny, too. Then she does a rap about Liza Minnelli, because that's her daughter, and she talks about how great Liza is and what a great mother she is. And
She's a great mother because Liza turned out well?
Yeah, but look at Liza's, laying around now sick, too.
Liza has grown up to be a strong, beautiful, talented, fine, sensitive, courageous young woman. I'm proud of that. I did that alone. I raised that little girl alone because nobody cared about us.
Poor me.
She has this very egocentric way of making Liza about her, like turning them kind of like how Howard is inseparable from his mother.
Yeah.
It's really not healthy.
No, it's almost weaponizing the kids as some kind of like leverage for sympathy or some kind of self-aggrandizement. Oh, this is how good I am. This is what I did. This was I was able to do. Now, mind you, I will say in the years and the decades since, I've never heard really shitty things about Liza Minnelli, aside from her drug use or drug abuse or, alcohol problems that she's had over the years, which go figure, look who her mother is. The talk is more about how talented she is and how charismatic and how funny and how whatever. I mean, people don't realize it now, but she was a massive, massive star in her own right. Liza Minnelli back in the day, Cabaret. Huge. She was huge. She was in, I think she was in New York with De Niro, wasn't she?
Yeah. And she was also a fixture at Studio 54. Like she was a very social person, very charismatic, and she also was in like the first Sex and the City movie or the second one, something like that. So like, she's an icon.
She is. She kind of replaced her mother in the gay community as a gay icon. It's kind of strange that I don't know why that would happen, but I guess she has a lot of Judy in her, like in terms of singing ability or talent, whatever. Back in the day when she was on, she was a phenomenal performer, and she did Vegas for decades, I believe.
She's a belter. Judy and her can belt. That's a rare thing. Like for singers, you can hit certain notes, but to be a belter, there's Whitney Houston, there's Adele, there's Celine Dion, there's Liza Minnelli, there's Judy Garland. There's people who can belt.
It's like it's a couple handfuls. That's about it. There's not too many. Yeah.
Poor her.
Yeah. Nobody cared about us.
Oh my God.
And quickly she goes back to yelling about Sid. Sid's a bum.
I think I only want to hear the Sid loved stuff.
I'll always be able to make money, but I'll keep it. I'll keep it for my children, myself, and I won't pay $25,000 a year to a bum, to Sid Luft. Who's a bum, a tramp.
Can you imagine? What I find amazing is through all this drunkenness and as she's by herself, there's no one around, she's recording, there's not one bit of profanity. I bet you $10 that's all those years of Hollywood training.
Yeah, and just the expletives that she is throwing, which is not in what we think as bad words, but tramp, bum, this, that. Yeah. It just is, it shows you the times.
Yes, way more colorful.
Does. And I will say this. So she's saying I'm not gonna pay. I'm not gonna do this. And she's drunk and she's supposed to be talking about her life. I wonder what the people must have thought when she sent these tapes. Like, what am I going to gauge from this?
Well, that's it. Yeah. I mean, and what money are you going to get from that? Mind you, do you get the different kind of fan looking for these types of tapes? Like,
yeah.
Just a complete, let's look at someone looking for the train wreck, obviously. But I find it incredibly sad because she is by herself. She's doing this. And clearly she's talking about money of the $25,000 she has to pay in alimony monthly to Sid Luft. And she clearly needed the money. Otherwise, if she wouldn't be talking about it, it would be an afterthought if she was still raking it in. But obviously she was unbankable. She was older and didn't have many films left in her by this point.
You know what I would have liked to know more of is a back exposition to this is the court proceedings previously where she lost the children, where he got the alimony. I would like to see how they came to that number and why. Because I don't personally know. I can just tell by listening to this, she's clearly a drunk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in terms of the money, we can understand. She was clearly making way more money than he would. So that's typically how it goes. Like, you know, the person who's like Reese Witherspoon and Ryan Philippe.
Yeah.
He was like, he's basically living off of that fucking was it? What was that one? The Legally Blonde, like money.
No, he well, yeah, but she was also in a bunch of other movies. She was also in what was that southern one, Sweet Home Alabama. They played a lot. It was called that was a huge movie.
But she sold her production company for a shitload of money as well. So he's living off
and
that.
then she did a branding. She owns this it's like a lifestyle brand company, which I don't know which, but then she got with that second husband who had a midlife crisis, decided to get a bunch of tattoos and just they're getting divorced too.
Go figure. It might be something to do with her too.
Well, you married him?
Yeah, why'd you marry him if he's such a bum? How come he got custody of the kids?
And so is his sister, his whole rotten background. And I'm not afraid.
I'm not afraid.
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. You don't know if she's afraid or afraid. You don't know what it is.
She is afraid, I think.
Yeah. Dave, you're on the air.
Yeah, man, I got cut off.
All right, you're on the air.
Yeah, man. Forget about this lady. Don't you know that we never been to the moon?
I think Judy Garland's tape has affected everyone's mind.
I was beginning to get drunk.
Yeah.
Listening to her.
Dave sounds drunk from listening to Judy Garland. What?
No,
What do you mean we never been to the moon? What are you talking about?
We've never been to the moon. We don't even talk about going to the moon no more. The Russians never even been to the moon.
What are you talking about?
Well, Judy said we shouldn't be up that far.
We shouldn't be in planes.
Sure. Yeah. Kevin, you're on the air.
Hey, I heard Jackie on a talk show promoting an upcoming event, saying he was the backbone of the show, and the show's obviously going down without him.
Oh, please. Where was this?
Atlantic City.
Well, all I know is we're working. He's not.
That's only what he compared it to Seinfeld. He says, like watching Jerry Seinfeld without George being on the show.
Yeah, and Jerry's doing just fine without George. In this case. Thanks.
I thought it was funny.
Well, not really.
That had to irritate him.
Yeah, big time. Anytime Jackie. And recently Jackie was brought up, and I think it's because the trailer for his movie is finally out, and they're going to be streaming it August or something like that. They're going to be Amazon, whatever. I'm definitely going to get a copy because there's footage in the trailer of him handing notes, and there's people saying, look, we all thought it was Howard, being funny, but it was clearly Jackie sending him notes.
My only problem with Jackie is why don't you surround yourself with people that are going to promote the shit out of this in a way that's going to catch on?
When did we interview him? A year and a half ago? 2 years ago?
I know, but there are so many documentaries, Fillmore, that I wouldn't give a shit about if it wasn't promoted in a certain way that caught my attention.
Yeah, well, now it's too late.
There are so many things that I would care about that I care about because it's promoted a certain way. I don't understand how he doesn't understand this.
Well, because he's from an old generation. He was talking about getting it on festival circuits. I'm like, dude, no one cares if it's at certain festivals outside of the critics. They just read to see what's being played, and then they got to know about it. And the festivals are not going to get your movie sold necessarily. They're just for word of mouth and for, like getting a critic's review so you could tack it on the poster. Like if it was at Berlin, if it was at Cannes, if it was at Toronto Film Festival, whatever. Come on, get it out there. Put it on streaming. Why couldn't he have just had a website set up to sell it the way Florentine did with his specials?
I know. And on top of it, if you really wanted to promote it, put it out to influencers. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know that's fucking tacky and terrible, but that's what this generation cares about, is what those people say.
Yep. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
I
That's right.
think it was George. It's more like the mailman.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's also kind of funny that we're all getting paid. He's not. Oh, you want more Judy?
Yeah, I want you want to come back to this later?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Is there more Judy?
what's the best cut left? There's only a couple left.
They're all short, and then the last one is the killer.
The last one.
No, yeah, we got to play the other ones.
Really?
You do. You have to.
They're that good.
They're that good.
All right. Come on. She's great.
Cut number 7.
All right.
Don't make
I can see why she was a star.
This is
We're almost done.
I've just about got it made. All I have to do is talk. And all you have to do is read or listen and believe me the way you believed me when I sang all the songs. Well, now I'm talking, and listen to me, for goodness sakes.
Oh,
Oh my
Don't
God.
make a joke of me anymore.
Ooh.
Wow.
People say, and print, and believe, the stupid ones, and the minority, that I'm either a drunk, a drug addict, or it's a goddamn wonder I'm not.
Poor Judy.
I know. I was just thinking of this. I wonder, like the chicken and the egg theory, what came first? Like, she was probably not like this. And then
No way. It was
Just-
systematic abuse. It was literally the
Right.
Dr. Feelgoods on the studios lot saying, "Look, what do you need to get up? What do you need to get down?"
I know, and I often think of just about how you must feel crazy defending yourself against this system of just unrelenting people who are in their pocket, the press, the media, the studios, the heads, the executives. I mean, how do you, it doesn't matter that you sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow or Oops, I Did It Again. You are theirs. Your image, your work, your life's work, your talent, you're theirs.
Well, I'll give you the parallel. Elvis, who died drug related, of course, and was in like a shadow of his former self when he finally died. And he was playing Vegas for fucking years, and he died in Vegas. Essentially, he died in Graceland. But he died playing Vegas, and they said, "Look, well, why don't you fucking just go? You've never played Europe. You've never been to Australia. Just see the world. You never got out of fucking, the U.S." Maybe he went to. I think he went to. I don't think he played in England, as far as I know. I can't remember. But either way, he said, "Look, the Colonel owes so much money to the fucking Hilton from gambling. I'll play this town until I die." And he didn't realize there's any number of managers who would have bought out those debts and taken over the contract and managed him properly and set up these shows in Egypt, the way they do like these massive shows in Cairo, in Dubai, huge. And he would be selling 100,000 seaters, even in his 50s and 60s. He'd be Sinatra.
Well, it's the people you surround yourself with, which is why it's also, by the way, sad that Carson got rid of Bushkin, because I think he was a gem. And I think that Judy ranting like this, it's just really deplorable how you're good when you're good, and then when they decide you're bad, they turn this corner, and it's just so relentless. And it's not fair. It's terrible. And I hate it. I really hate this. I mean,
it's horrible. The studio, the way the system works, it doesn't seem fair. But then people say, well, what do you mean fair? These people getting millions of dollars. Well, we presume they're getting millions of dollars and stuff. Yeah, but there's a whole lot of shit goes on. Agents, managers, PR guys.
You have to say a certain thing.
Ex-husbands.
You have to be a certain way. It's very tough.
Yeah, it can be. It absolutely can be.
Sure.
He scares me.
Can you imagine?
What's this next one?
Starlit and Fi-Fi are real short, just ramblings. The CBS one is where she wants her money.
Okay.
Should I skip to that?
Yeah, go to 11 and then
all right.
Go.
All right. She wants your money from CBS.
Yeah, this is really, she's really out of it here. This is low fidelity. So this could be you or Jackie.
Oh, but he's not wrong. I think, too, the gaslighting of it all makes them crazy. Like, you're gaslighting me into thinking that you don't owe me this money. My life is this way because you aren't properly compensating me, because you tricked me into signing whatever shit deal. You know, it's got to be, like I said, the chicken or the egg. What comes first? Your drug addiction, and that's the fallout? No, I believe it's like we said. They push you into these behaviors, then they gaslight you, they underpay you, then they reject you, and now you're sitting here in London with a tape recorder.
It takes a very strong-willed person to fight the system and win, and Betty Davis was one of the few examples. Katharine Hepburn as well. They would not take shit, and they both had a very similar upbringing. They wouldn't take shit, and they did the work that they wanted to do until they couldn't. I mean, obviously, you could get so much employment when you're older, but for Judy, that must have been another brutal thing. Aging in Hollywood for these starlets.
Mm-hmm.
It's the worst thing on the planet. So you have to reinvent yourself as a producer, a director, even whatever, be a writer, be behind the scenes stuff.
You know who's done pretty good at that? Anne Margaret.
Really?
Yeah, she's actually because she was in Grumpy Old Men. She did, she did things. She did recently.
Oh,
she was
I thought you meant in terms of behind the camera instead of in front of it.
No, I mean, like, she survived this climate.
Oh, yeah.
She came up aces.
As far as I know, and she was still working. Last film I saw her in was Any Given Sunday, and to be honest, she was riveting in that. She was it was a small part, and you're like, I can't take my eyes off her. She's so good.
I watch anything she does. I love Anne Margaret.
She's phenomenal. She was one of my huge, massive crushes back in the day. And you know what? Like at 70, would blow me off in a heartbeat.
I swear to God, 7. Like when I saw Bye Bye Birdie, I was like, this is the most entrancing person I've ever seen in my life.
Unbelievable.
She's just amazing.
And Viva Las Vegas.
Beautiful.
Christ almighty. I remember the stories the Elvis Memphis Mafia were telling me, like when she hooked up with Elvis and they were in the suite for like a weekend and they tried to whatever they could do. They shined butter knives and tried to put them under the door.
I
did. And they
Poor
said
Priscilla.
She's and Priscilla was trying to compete, this fucking teenager trying to compete with Anne Margaret. Meanwhile, and they said Anne Margaret was the coolest person on the planet. She went motorcycle riding with us. She was unbelievable. It was great. And they said, and the cast and crew, everybody loved her. And how could you not?
How could you not? I love Anne Margaret. Don't ever say a bad word about her. I love her so much.
Yeah.
They're going to have to pay me. I started their business. They're from Portland. They must be very rich. I'm not. I'm still working.
Damn.
That money back. I want lots of money back that they took. I hate them carrying me.
Man, she's wasted.
Yeah.
He's hearing the drunk, but we're hearing the fucking despair in her voice.
Oh man, this is heavy.
It is heavy.
Heavy. I almost can see her dying after this. I mean, you watch the light go out and in this one recording or these multiple recordings, you just see the anger, the rage, and then slowly kind of
Slipping
just
away.
saying, I'm just going to submit to this torture.
Yeah, she couldn't deal with it. I mean, it was a lifelong addiction if made by the fucking, and Mickey Rooney was one of the first people to say it. They ate her up and they chewed her out, and then they spit her out they chewed her up and spit her out, and then whatever they had to do to
Listen to
get
what
all this product, and that he said it. I'll always have a hole in my heart for what they did to her.
Listen to what Arthur Miller said about Marilyn Monroe or Joe DiMaggio. I mean, Arthur Miller maybe wasn't the best husband, but he said, and he did he wrote a piece after she passed away, and it's so critical of what they did to Marilyn. And Joe DiMaggio, same thing. He was like, fuck these people. I don't want them at her funeral.
Yep.
A good buzz going.
But she's not a drunk.
I hate them for not protecting me at CPS.
Wow.
Okay, this last one. If someone had written the dialogue on this, they'd win an Oscar.
Well, a lot of
what is this about?
This is just at the tail end. This is like she's fed up, and you have to deal with me. And there's a place called the La Brea Tar Pits, and everyone in Hollywood should be in that place.
La Brea Tar Pits is like so they could suffocate and die.
Exactly.
All right.
I mean, it's incredible.
She's not wrong.
But you can't write how nervous my hands get or how lost I might get when I have to remember, because I went through 5 years of psychoanalysis going back over a life that was no good to begin with, no fun, and it's a little bit, I'm doing it purely for money.
What's she doing for money? The book?
Yeah.
Because I deserve it. I've sung. I've entertained. I've pleased your children. I've pleased your wives. I've pleased you, you sons of bitches!
Whoa!
Listen.
And you can't deny that!
Oh my God, Fillmore.
I'd give her an Oscar.
Yeah. There's more.
Oh. This is so heavy.
It's not our typical fare. I usually pick the lighter stuff, but I thought we have to go through this at one point. It may as well be one of these. But to listen to it, it's very jarring because we don't read other people's diaries. We don't, I don't know. I'm not talking mock fiction. I'm talking real people don't do this where it's out there unless it's, there are cancer patients that want to document their struggle, and that's a different story. We're talking about people going through financial difficulties and drunk and at their lowest fucking ebb. You never hear this.
Okay, can I ask you a question? You and I have both heard this audio multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
We're of a certain age now where we've been doing this for a while. We've also seen a lot of different celebrities go through, I guess, similar sort of circumstances. And so doesn't it become less funny?
Well, it's depressing only in that, I don't know. You could get your heart hardened, I think, if you hear enough of these stories, like the Anne Hesh stuff. Chris Farley, obviously, I bring it up all the time. Substance abuse. John Candy didn't have substance abuse per se, but he couldn't keep his weight down. He smoked like a chimney and took a lot of shitty jobs to make money. Belushi, just a insane drug. He didn't plan on dying. He had no idea he was going to fucking overdose. That's a different situation. Other people were headed towards it. But with her, the only real the tragedy is that she wasn't even that old when she died. What, late 40s? She was like 47 when she passed away, and she looked like 60.
Yeah, she did. She really did. I mean, a lot of people look older during that time, but the amount of pressure and everything that she was going through, the abuse. And I think this is just, you can't take that. I did this for your kids. I did this for your children. It's really a vocal diary of her pretty much ending her life.
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah, it's just depressing as fuck in reality. I mean, it is. And the fact that they're saying she knows there's money to be doled out from everything she's done, exactly right. But because they're not paying it, now she has to go through her life and make this.
Dredge it all up.
Yeah, it's really depressing.
Meanwhile, turning to the booze to deal with maybe suppressing all those memories and all that shit, and having to, and most likely having probably been passed around like a fuck doll to all these studio heads to get parts, and then just service people. It's horrifying.
And I
if you
can't
think
even
about it.
imagine, too, especially as a woman, like being that big of an icon and knowing that every male counterpart you worked with made fuckloads more than you.
Certainly, absolutely. I mean, it's precious few of them that got what they deserved back in those days.
Oh, fuck.
Someone isn't pleasing me very much. They're not protecting me. They're going to move the house away with the kids. Sid Loft.
Niagara Falls. No,
Is some kind of, and a lot of people belong in a thing in Southern California called the La Brea Tar Pit. I've maintained a way of life to not sink with the sludge.
Wow.
Now you better write it, you better pay for it, or don't listen and get the hell out of my life.
I swear to God, that should be played on a loop for every single celebrity who is being railroaded by these industry execs, by these producers, by these people in the industry. Yeah. Whoever's pulling the strings.
Yeah.
Holy shit. She's so gassed up, but I love it.
Yeah, I think there's people out there, I think, that would agree that if suddenly the entire studio system collapsed in Hollywood and fell into the ocean, like there would be no loss of innocent life.
Oh, please. The pretending that went on with Harvey Weinstein is the most reprehensible thing I've ever seen.
Well, the Weinstein thing is especially, and the fact is, we'll never know, as good as NT can be, we'll never know the full list of like I believe all those Jennifer Lawrence nudes were her pictures from his account that she sent him.
He had spies, he had everything, and I also believe, just like that situation, just the Epstein tapes that were lost, quote unquote. Give me a fucking break.
Mm-hmm.
It's bullshit.
It is.
Hey! Imagine the person who's trying to transcribe.
Let's see. How am I going to write a book of this? How am I going to write the book?
It'd be easy as fuck.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yelling and screaming into a tape recorder.
Son of bitches!
La Brea Tar Pits.
If this was in a movie, you'd call this really good acting, but this is her life.
I mean, some of the interns don't even know who Judy Garland is, and they're laughing their asses off.
What kind of shitty interns are those?
Well, I mean, yeah, who the fucking, like, honestly, a 20-year-old, this is the mid-90s, guys, so who's a 20-year-old or 18 or 19-year-old in 1995, or, no, 2000, let's say, because Jackie's gone, so 2001 or 2000, who's a kid born in 1980 who never heard of fucking Judy Garland?
I mean, I know people, but I guess I'm a rare breed.
You're a bad example. Like fucking Amos and Andy.
I know, this is bad. It's a bad example.
Yeah. So typically, though, but that even
no,
then,
you're right.
The Wizard of Oz was still a staple every fucking year on TV.
I hated my peers in high school for not knowing things.
Right.
I was like, what is wrong with you?
You never saw Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein? What's wrong with you?
I was like, what do you mean? You've never seen the birds?
Yeah.
She'll go, and then there'll be a long pause, and she'll go, Sid Loft!
Yeah. He is Niagara Falls.
He is. Howard, you want some similarities?
To believe. And I tried my damnedest to believe in the rainbow that I tried to get over, and I couldn't. So what?
So what?
Lots of people can't.
Oh my goodness. So what?
So what?
So what?
Was there any joy of any kind in her life?
No, this woman was
a rough life
from the beginning to the end.
She's pissed off.
It's a little difficult to sit and talk about yourself.
Yeah.
I'm a very modest woman.
A modest woman?
I've always
had a
believed
real
in that
good view
terrible
of herself.
cliche. Whatever is printed in the paper today is yesterday's news. That's a lot of nonsense. I get mail and Fie on the rotten poison pen letters. The people who write those are demented.
I love Judy.
Oh, I love Judy so much. I love her choice of words. I love everything about it. But I also think just listen to how she's, I guess you could say, taking this apart, her life, how she's thinking of this and how she's sort of framing this.
She's not wrong in the business. If they want to get rid of you, they want to make you like a career void your career. The establishment just basically puts out these fucking like gossip things. They send out bullshit gossip things to even to guys like Enty to say that this person's difficult and whatever. And then all of a sudden you don't get work because we hear you're difficult.
Listen to what's like I always say.
Look
with
at the
Britney.
Lila Arcieri thing.
Exactly. This
Like,
is so.
yeah.
So then the Howard thing, which brings us back to this point.
Mm-hmm.
What is going on where he doesn't get touched? We think it's Pink Mafia, right?
I think it's Pink Mafia exclusively and part money. I mean, like there's certain things that his money he could always sue someone for, I guess libel or
No. I think it's back in the day. He met somebody with a lot of power.
Yeah, like a David Geffen.
Yep. And I think that his protection makes it so there are going to be at times, just because of the grassroots movement of social issues, that you're going to have the blackface come up again. You're going to have the questions about how you talk to Anna Nicole Smith come up again.
All those
These
things.
people
the
were
Baby Spice interview.
Yep. But these people were destroyed by Hollywood. Do you think for 5 seconds that they can't make sure that E! News, Entertainment Tonight, that NBC, ABC, CBS is not going to cover it? They will make sure they are not going to cover it.
I believe so. I mean, hell, if he can pay himself $50,000 to TMZ to not cover him every year, that'll pay their internet bills or whatever. Of course, he'll do it. And he's admitted to doing it.
I think that the guise of, I think the protection racket and the guise of honesty when it comes to celebrities is so far off the track right now. People don't see that they're living in Pravda of how they present certain people. They're so stupid that they don't see that this is just a propaganda churning constantly.
Well, the fact that they went ahead with this fucking Flash movie, even though the main actor, the Ezra Miller, has a rap sheet looking like Al Capone has a cleaner rap sheet than fucking Ezra Miller, and they went ahead with this fucking film, hundreds of millions of dollars, and it bombed, like comparative to what it cost. And like, why would you even go ahead with it, knowing what this guy has been doing? Like, what this person? Sorry, I don't know if it's he or she anymore. I don't know if I don't know why they would think this would be a good thing. You take the hit, you whatever money you sunk into, like that Catwoman movie, or Batgirl movie. I forget which one it was that they decided they're not going to do. Eat the loss and go with something else, because it's not a good look.
It's not, and
so
that goes with the kids shows too, like Nickelodeon.
Oh fuck! Why is that Dan Schneider not in jail? If even a fraction of these things are true. Why isn't he incarcerated?
So like, it just goes to show you.
Is his real name Dan Geffen? Like, what's the story?
I know. And so when Judy's ranting and she's drunk and she's high, like I said, she didn't get here by nothing happening to her.
Right, exactly.
You're right, Judy.
Go, five.
Wizard of Oz.
Fire on you.
It becomes Shakespearean.
Fire you, this Nazi machine.
Nazi on your family.
This is a Manchurian candidate kind of a machine.
So what? Lots of people can't get over the rainbow.
I tried to get over the rainbow.
Whoa, she's really bitter.
I've entertained your children.
I'm sorry. What is the difference between that rant and his CBS press conference?
Nothing except alcohol. That's the only difference.
What's the difference?
Alcohol and life experience, actual life experience. And you compare what she went through compared to his fucking life. Come on.
Come on. You're
Yeah.
right. Come on.
I mean, how am I like her?
Okay, you ready?
Yeah. I mean, shame on you.
This is like that Kennedy.
Spy on you.
You're both divorced.
Okay.
You're both living apart from your kids. You both had 3 kids.
Yeah.
You both talk into a microphone.
Yeah.
I love that when Vinny nails this one.
What happened?
Yeah, exactly.
You were both in your 40s. She was in her 40s at your age now. You both battled CVS over money. Okay? You were both mentally abused by parents.
Yeah.
Both of you see psychiatrists.
Oh, psychoanalysis.
I've only been there 3 years.
I hope you don't get as much out of it as she did.
Yeah.
I think both of you like your wine.
This was the point when he was drinking, so that's what he's really referencing. Because Howard, I don't think he fucking opened an alcohol bottle, let alone drank it for the first fucking 50 or for first 30 years of his life.
Do you think the drinking explains why he wore that P. Diddy white party outfit?
Just a little bit, yeah. And then like, I love what Richie Wilson said. We used to like look at the fashions he was wearing on the E! Show and go like, what the fuck is this?
And then like Beth, the E! interview, where it's her birthday and she's wearing that turquoise jewelry and she looks like a hot horse mess. And he's like, and they're both drunk. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Both of you couldn't play sports.
Yeah.
Judy hung with gays and you hung out with Ralph.
God bless you, Vinny.
That's why you don't exist anymore.
Well, this is part of it. This is and think about it for a moment here. Like I was gonna do, we'll cover it the next time. But there's a clip of him being asked by I think Wolfie or somebody, what or Wheels. He said, "Who would you kill, like Ronnie or Ralph?" And he chooses Ronnie. Like he'll keep Ralph.
Idiot.
And Artie's going. I think Artie in his argument is like, "Please tell me, Ronnie, that you wouldn't kill Ronnie because otherwise you're going to absolutely prove to everybody that you're a fag."
Yeah, picks out your underwear, I think he said.
Well, yeah. I mean, the guy that picks out your clothes you can't get rid of. Don't you know how you like to dress? And the answer is no, he doesn't. He doesn't know anything. So fuck it.
Judy lost money in her divorce.
Well, who doesn't?
Judy had a daughter who wanted to be a performer, and I think you have a daughter, an older daughter, right, who wants to perform.
My vagina. If we ever went through
breasts.
that by the my says, I'd love to be here at the Kabbalah Center. Opie and Anthony eviscerated that so well. I wouldn't even make an attempt to go through that thing.
That's classic.
It is. And Bill Burr and Patrice are in there and they're like, I can't believe you guys are doing this to his daughter. But you're not. She did it to him.
They did it to him. No, meaning like Howard did it to her.
Well, he did to himself.
He put her in his family on this pedestal and whatever, and we can't go after families. Meanwhile, he did it the opposite to the Opie and Anthony show. He went after people in their life.
Everybody's kids. He went after Regis for his treatment. Johnny Carson, he talked about his sons, his relationship with his sons. He talked about Katie Lee. He talked about just about everybody that had kids in the business. So, or like anybody in the business that had kids and was putting them forward and stuff. He talked all kinds of shit.
And the worst part is he would never debate. The last debate we got was him with what the fuck is his name? Imus. He barely got on the phone with him until he hung up. He can't debate them. So he wouldn't go and really go toe to toe with O&A. Instead, he did all these behind the scenes moves like a fucking asshole.
I'd say Mancow might have been the only, the last one I can think of, because he knows he'd get destroyed on the fly. He's no good. He has to have stuff fed to him. Andy Dick, if Andy Dick was in there, and as much of a mess as Andy Dick is, he's way smarter than Howard.
Yep.
And Handy would destroy Howard if it was a 1-to-1 kind of battle. And he couldn't have him in studio because he's too much of a chicken shit.
No, he couldn't.
Yep.
That was Fred. That's it for that.
I know we're gonna. Is Joan here?
I haven't seen her yet. She's running late.
Oh,
Well, fie on her.
Fie on people shoving.
She's a bum.
She's a tramp.
She's like Sid Loft.
Sid Loft.
An animal.
All of his relatives.
What is it, Bench?
Hey, did Vinny bring up about the airplane as comparing Judy Garland to you?
What is that?
Oh, I thought that part was. I thought that's what he was gonna bring up. That part was exactly like you.
What?
That people should be up in the sky. Not that you say that about airplanes, but you have that about all kinds of things.
That's true.
Like,
people shouldn't be up in the sky.
Yeah.
They shouldn't.
In an
like anything that you feel isn't right.
Birds don't walk up in the sky.
You know that.
Birds go up this high.
But Benji's point is, if you have a thought, that's gospel.
Right. Like anything that's not right for you, why is anyone doing this?
Yeah, I know. I'm going to check.
He's absolutely correct.
God, Fillmore. Benji assessed it as precise as we would.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, like the thing is, I'm not a Benji fan, guys. You all know that I've talked enough shit about him, but not enough, but certainly enough for you guys to know that how I feel about him. But if you got him full of truth serum, he would come up with a lot of the same observations we would about Howard having been there and also having been under, being a writer or being an intern, and then being turned into a writer and having to see how the machine operates from the inside. He would be almost the ultimate insider.
I would wonder though, and I do wonder how much of we are not a Benji fan because we don't know what he would say. Do you know what I'm saying? When he had to come up strong for some things about the book.
Mm-hmm.
And he's made some solid points, including this right here. I mean, how much is he muzzled? We don't know.
We have no way of knowing, and we don't know. I don't know that he's a Buchwald client. I doubt it. But Buchwald clients would at least get money for their person, if not
no,
credit.
I think he was, right? He was a Buchwald client, and that's why it was told to him that he would get credit.
I don't know about that. I don't believe so because he would no longer be a client at that point. He'd have to tell Don, fuck off. You did me wrong. You fucked me for the benefit of your asshole meal ticket. Come on.
Would we know that?
We wouldn't. It's all speculation. But I don't believe so because also I don't know that he's making enough for Don to give a fuck about it.
I don't know. But I just think that, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, that's that for this one. This is at volume 5. I'm not sure where it's going to go, whether it's on Patreon or not. Either way, we hope you have enjoyed it. We know you like these little segments of mixed nuts, shall we say?
Somewhere over the rainbow. So,
exactly. That's right. So take care, guys, and watch out for the La Brea tar pits on your travels across the country this summer.
Mm-hmm.
Take care, guys. Have fun.
People are coming to the house. My wife is upstairs crying. I think you should tell your godfather what everybody else seems to know. I want all inquiries made. I want no acts of vengeance. I want you to call all the heads of the 5 families.
Oh, no.
To